Well, good to see you guys. I'm nerding out beyond belief. When I first saw the trailer, that scene when you throw, is it the batarang? Is that how you say it? You throw it, and you're obviously in slow-mo, and then Ezra's like this, and he pulls it. When you shoot that moment, and when you guys are in those moments as well, and other scenes where the Flash is slowing everything down, what does that look like for you as actors when you're shooting those scenes?
Sometimes they shoot them with high-speed cameras so that the action actually slows down. Like those we brought in for that day, special cameras that shot at a high frame rate so that, I just threw it full speed and it can slow way down, and then you shoot Ezra at a slightly different frame rate so that it looks like a little bit slow, but also that he's moving faster than I am.
But you're in the same shot. How are you look slow and he looks
I'm
normal?
not in the same. It's on to me throwing, and then you cut to Ezra. You have to. If you watch it carefully, you'll.
That's so freaking cool. And for you guys, are you guys ever, do you slow yourselves down or freeze yourselves in moments like that?
Yeah, there's some sequences. Whenever Flash goes into the Speed Force, everything else around him sort of has to stay still. So there was certain sections where he'd begin to run, and we'd have to be stationary, and then remain stationary until he stops running, and then we come out of whatever action that is. But these VFX crew and Zach, they worked out the physics of that Speed Force and what we should be doing.
So cool. When you are on that parademon, it's in the trailer, and you come down, you land, and then you slide forward into the frame. How did that shot work? Like you come down from the sky.
Oh, you mean when I go through the building?
And you go like this, you go, and you come through.
my shampoo moment, the Pert Plus ad. Yeah, I can't believe they use that too.
I love it. I love it.
Man, I'm never gonna hear the end of this one. I was basically on a box, and you're completely surrounded by green screen, and so I kind of jumped down 2 stairs, like it just came through the building, and then obviously I just flipped my hair back. So, and then you watch the Batmobile go by. That was the hardest part.
And then you get on the Batmobile.
Well, that was before it.
Oh, it's so good. I love that scene so much. I'm a huge Zack Snyder fan. Love Man of Steel. I love Batman vs. Superman. I'm wearing all this stuff right now. The Ultimate Cut is so great. I love that cut so much. I'm just curious what the difference was with working with Snyder, and then how different it was on set with Whedon. How different did it feel?
Well, Zach cast this movie. He'd made the 2 movies prior. This movie is very heavily informed by all the work that went into it ahead of time, including design and script and everything else. So it's Zach's movie. It is when Zach had to step away, for personal reasons. Obviously, some things are more important than movies, and we got lucky, and we had a guy come in who kind of worked off Zach's template and also added his own flavor and his own stuff to it, and I think made the movie better. And although I wouldn't want to necessarily have like 2 directors on every movie, I do think it was an interesting way of doing it, and it was sort of the whole was greater than the sum of the part.
And Mr. Affleck, the first time I ever met you was Gone Baby Gone. We were in Washington, D.C. You and Casey were there. You came up, and the first thing I said to you was, "Hey, you're Shannon from The Fashionable Male." And you looked at me and you started laughing. You were like, "Dude, you're a big Kevin Smith fan." I'm like, "Of course I am, man. I love Kevin Smith." And obviously, I saw a story recently that I love so much, that Kevin Smith is going to be donating like his future residuals of his movies that he made under the Weinstein name to women in film. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that, and just for you guys in general, what can we do to fix this culture in Hollywood?
Sure. It's funny that you mentioned that, because once Kevin suggested that, I decided to do the same thing. So
really?
I'm giving any further residuals that I get from a Miramax or a Weinstein movie will go either to Find or to Rain. And one is Film Independent, and the other is a women's organization. And I just didn't want to cash any more checks from the guy. It's not I don't usually bring it up, but it was Kevin's idea, and I thought it was a good one, and I hope it catches on. Some people probably couldn't afford to give all those residuals away, but even if you're doing 10%, that's something.
And for you guys, what can we do to fix that culture?
I think we can keep talking about it.
Yes.
I think we can keep talking about it, keep making it known. People keep speaking up. Obviously, this is a problem that extends beyond just the film industry. This is a problem at large in the world, and we need to encourage people to stand up and be willing to speak out about it. Male, female, whatever. We also have instances where I remember Terry Crews coming out saying that he was sexually harassed.
Yeah.
Being who he is. It extends further beyond just this specific place. We need to keep talking about it and keep encouraging other people to do the same.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, guys, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, man.
It was awesome nerding out.
Glad you liked the movie.
First of all, I know you've been getting a lot of questions about the mustache. I'm more interested about it from a filmmaking standpoint. I'm so blown away by the process of the removal of it. And I'm curious, when you were on set, do you wear anything to at all cover it up, or do you do the scenes fully? How does that work?
It's nothing to cover it up. What we do is we try and pull it back from the top lip as much as possible, so they kind of wax it up, and then I have dots all over my face. And they try and put dots which are barely visible, sort of in the various points on the face which you would see them during normal, not face replacement, but whatever CGI aspect they may be applying to a face. And yeah, I was covered in dots and had a big moustache. It was definitely a new look for Superman.
Were there days where you would do both films? Like, would you jump back and forth between Macquarie's film and this film, or would you fly in for this for a couple days, then go back to MI6?
We were here. I think we were here and we were about to leave for location on MI6. So I wasn't shooting both at the same time. I just was about to start shooting again. We were on like a 2 to 3 day break or something.
Wow. You know, one thing I love about this movie is Danny Elfman. He's a brilliant composer. And I was watching the film, I'm hearing some old John Williams score in there. I'm hearing some old Elfman score from the original Batman. They brought in some of Zimmer's piece. In the new trailer, we got to see some of that classic Man of Steel score come back. I'm just curious, as a guy who's playing Superman, what are your feelings on all the different types of music? Like, I love John Williams' score, Zimmer's score, but what are your feelings on the music for Superman?
The score for me is always very important. I think the score for everyone's very important. But for me especially, because during Man of Steel, when Man of Steel was coming out, and I was looking so forward to the movie coming out, it was a massive moment for me, massive moment for anyone who's a Superman fan. And the Hans Zimmer score is so ingrained in my psyche now. Yeah. And the emotions I felt while making the movie, the emotions I felt for the character, and the emotions I felt while watching those trailers when they were happening, it is enormous. And so that score holds something very special for me, and always will. But at the same time, the John Williams score is incredibly powerful. It's a character all to itself. And to have both of those, I mean, it's genius. I couldn't have asked for anything better.
Now, as you can see, I'm a huge Batman vs. Superman fan. I have you on my shoe here, and I have you on my tie clip. I was a fan of that movie, a massive fan, specifically the Ultimate Cut, the 3-hour R-rated version.
Right.
Obviously, that film was very divisive. I'm just curious, did anyone ever ask you what your personal thoughts were? What did you think of Batman vs. Superman? I thought it was awesome. I loved the film, and I think that there was so much criticism. What were your thoughts on it?
I think it was, that movie is, it's part of an arc for what Snyder's vision was, or is, and it's also, in my mind, fairly niche. It's a niche style of movie within a genre, and it reflects in the audience reviews and critics reviews. It's divisive. When anything is niche, it's going to be liked and loved by some, and disliked by others. And that's the whole point of niche. So yeah.
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you too. Thank you for coming.
No, thanks for having me. All right, so I'm geeking out. My favorite scene in the whole movie, and this is in the trailer. I have to ask how this was done. You go off that bridge thing, and you're reaching for your sword. You slow everything down, run around, and go bing. All right, I want to know what it looked like for you on set. Are you hanging from a rope?
It didn't look the way it looks in the movie. Obviously, there's a lot of CGI.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do the falling from the thing. I was on a fork. There's things.
Tuning fork, which really looks like a huge tuning fork.
Thing, by the way, for your back.
Awful slash amazing.
It's like you can't. It's
it
a
hurts.
metal ring, and you're connected to this kind of a metal harness.
Yeah.
And then they put you in a position where you gotta, it's
like you're
insane.
frozen almost, right?
Yeah, and then they shoot it in a different camera. I don't know if it was Phantom or what was it.
Did they put your hair back for that so that they could CGI the
and
slow
there's
motion
no
hair?
It's crazy and so many dots.
Like Jason's beard had to be like glued to his face when he did all the swimming scenes.
Yeah.
You know, Henry Cavill's mustache got a lot of talk, but there's a lot of hair stuff that goes on.
Yeah. But when you're
all I had to do, honestly, was run. They hung a sword from the ceiling.
But you're sideways.
Ran. Yeah, and we tried to illustrate that with body language. That was a lot of the goofy stuff we were up to. Is like, what is the choreography that makes it look like he's running on a wall?
Oh, it's so
like how is someone weighting their body? That stuff is fun to think about. And then I poked the sword.
Great.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I think the No Man's Land scene in Wonder Woman is one of the greatest scenes of all time.
Thank
and one of my
you.
favorite
Legitimate
elements about
statement.
Wonder Woman is the slide kicks that she does, like the
Yeah.
slow.
Yes.
Can you talk about those filming the process of that? They look so cool.
Yes.
Is it like, are you actually taking their legs out? Like it's so badass.
people-
You did,
people
but you
die all
know,
the
you
time.
work with the very best people who knows
Yeah.
exactly what to do when it happens, so nothing happens to them gladly. They just
No
act
legs were
with it.
harmed in the
Yeah.
making of Wonder Woman.
But it's a lot of fun, and I really enjoy all the stunt choreographies. I was a dancer for years, and for me, the stunt choreographies are very similar to dance choreographies.
Yeah.
It's all about talking with your body, and it's great, and I love it.
I'm a huge Snyder and Whedon fan. Snyder specifically because I love Man of Steel, love Batman vs Superman. I have all this on, but
Repping,
I wanted
yeah.
to know what the difference in feeling was of a Snyder directed shot versus a Whedon shot. I'm wondering what that felt like. Was there a different vibe? Did he keep the Snyder style going? Because in the movie you can't tell where one stepped in, one stepped out, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think it's a realization of a cohesive vision that comes, mainly from Zach, and comes from, the cumulative process of the building of the DCEU. And I feel, something that reflects majorly what Zach showed me in early comic frames in a lot of the movie. And what's funny is that I think that, Zach was doing a much lighter, more comedic, almost more Whedon-y thing, and then Joss stepped on and was fulfilling Zach's vision. So it's an incredible instance of two artists in collaboration and honoring each other's work.
I'm geeking out.